boyfriend gets mad when I use my vibrator but doesn't want to fuck me. His sex drive is lower than mine. I have probably too high of a sex drive and I've never met a girl like me. There's probably something wrong with me. I know some men are like this but I don't know girls who are like this. Sorry if this is TMI but I'm just trying to say what's going on. It's the first thing I do when I wake up and the last thing I do so I could fall asleep in peace. That's what I do every day and it's what I'm used to. I at least use it twice a day like I said, sometimes during the day too. It don't take very long. He gets mad when I use it and tried to hide it twice. He doesn't want to have sex often, which I respect, and I don't ask him for anything unless he want to do it. It just doesn't make sense for him to be mad and at me, and it's almost like he's jealous of an object, vibrator. I stopped watching videos that get me going because he hates it. He never directly asked me to stop, but I just respect his wishes either way. On average we have sex a maximum of twice a week. It's not enough honestly, but I'm fine with it if I'm getting my needs taken care of by myself, but he gets seriously offended when I do. I tried not doing it and it just resulted in me being so stressed and angry and unproductive all day because it's in my head. I'm not an nymphomaniac. It just helps me relax and it doesn't even take that long. If I don't do it I can't think of anything else during the day. I don't want to do it if he's staring dead at my soul like he's angry, and I also don't want him to feel bad about himself because he's not doing it. Advice needed. A partner who makes you feel guilty and bad for enjoying an orgasm, it's not a good partner. He's incredibly selfish and controlling. So you need to have an adult conversation to see if you're compatible. It's okay if you aren't, it happens, and it's better to know now than when you're more invested in the relationship. As for why he doesn't like it, he could feel that the 2x a day sessions are a 2x daily reminder that he's incapable of satisfying you. There could be a middle ground: he holds the vibrator, or is involved in some way, or you need to handle your needs privately, etc. Or it could be incompatibility. Be an adult, state your needs, let him state his needs, see if a workable solution could be had. If not, break up. Don't listen to all the people making grand moral judgments or whatever. People with mismatched sex drives is extremely common in relationships, and if you can't find a way to make it work, it won't. If he gets mad at you for masturbating, especially when it doesn't even affect your sex life, he is extremely controlling. This isn't something you can logic with. There is nothing wrong with you. Some people have high sex drive, and I assure you, you aren't the only woman like this. The best advice I can give you is to get rid of your toxic boyfriend. I think you need to be more considerate about where you choose to masturbate. I would find it pretty unpleasant to wake up to and go to sleep to my husband watching porn. I know, you stopped that, a vibrating sound, and him masturbating. To be clear, I couldn't care less about him doing either. I just don't want it to be right next to me in bed. Most people masturbate in private unless it's part of a sex act like mutual masturbation. Once in a while maybe, but in general, folks handle solo orgasms in privacy. It's not cause it's a shameful act or anything, it can just be weird/damaging intimacy-wise to see your partner constantly getting off without you. Also, consent-wise, not everyone wants to see that all the time. Mention him being right there, which makes me think you masturbate in front of him like you drink water. I would start there, and see if things improve between you two. I might also consider talking about that aspect with him and maybe offering an apology for doing that in front of him so much without his consent. Masturbate during your shower or in a separate space from where he's trying to relax. If you were masturbating instead of sex, then he'd be justified in being a bit miffed, but what you're doing is like snacking between meals. It doesn't replace a meal, it just keeps you going until it is time for dinner. Try talking to him again, maybe explain it like that. It sounds like his ego is a bit dented. My boyfriend isn't pulling his weight and I think it's time to let go. So me and my boyfriend have been together for 3 years. We're both 18 and I'm starting to move on to university. I work part-time, and I juggle a lot of time-consuming hobbies. All he does is avoid his studies and play Xbox all day with his friends. He doesn't tidy his room, do any housework, and I even helped him to get a job and he's terrible at it. I love him more than I can say, and I would never want to hurt him, but being the one carrying him in our relationship is starting to make me angry at him. I've tried many times to talk to him about it and he says it'll change and it never does. I love him and after 3 years together, through our best years, I just don't want to be without him, but I'm not happy anymore. Even my friends and family can see it and they've told me. What should I do? Should I try harder to push him or accept my losses and let him go? Update. Thank you for all the comments and advice. It's really helped me to decide what I want to do, but I just can't reply to them all, so I'll just post to update. I spoke to him last night and asked if he thought that our relationship was a 50-50 split in effort. He said more like 80-20. I was honest and told him how I felt, and he even told me about some things that I've done that hurt him and how he's struggling with his mental health. I said I wanted to give our relationship one last go, but if things didn't change I couldn't stay with him anymore. I'm going to see how it goes, but honestly if things slip back to how they are now I can't stay. In all honesty, not many people meet their soulmate at age 15 and spend the next 60 to 70 years living happily ever after. Odds are this relationship was never going to last. Most people in their teens and 20s have yet to figure out who they are, let alone know what traits they want and need in a mate for life. Our teens and early 20s are a period of discovery, exploring, and learning. Those relationships are essentially practice relationships. What was cool at age 15 or 18 probably won't be good enough for you at 25, 30, or beyond. The older we become, the more we come to understand the following. Life is too short to be trying to change water into wine. The goal is to find someone who already is what you want. Sounds like you've outgrown your boyfriend and have different priorities. Generally speaking, people don't change unless they are unhappy. Some people come into our life as blessings. Some come in your life as lessons. / Mother Teresa. Best wishes. You already know what to do and you've come to the right place for that validation. Break up with him. It's past time. He doesn't respect your opinion and it sounds like you've grown past him. It happens. Look up The Truth That Lies There by Cheryl Strayed. She says it way better than I can, but if your heart says go, then it is time to go. So in 4 years you will have a degree and he will have played a lot of Xbox. He still will have no motivation to get a job or clean up after himself. He might be looking for someone to support him and clean up after him. So do you want to support him emotionally and financially plus clean up after him after coming home from work while he spends all day gaming? And what if you have kids? He won't watch or care for them because the gaming will still be more important. Plus childcare isn't cheap. Think about the women who post about these situations. They never thought they would be in these situations. They thought the sows would eventually grow up and they don't. End it now before you become one of these overwhelmed women. Thank you. Me and my dad are really close and this is exactly what he said when I spoke to him about how I felt. I don't want to be stuck in that situation and waste my life being his mum. If you're not happy and he won't change, then it's time to go. My 21F brother, 17M, was sexually assaulted and I need to know how I can help him. Sorry Reddit, this one's long. Basically, last night my 21F brother, 17M, told me he got drunk at a friend's house and then was taken advantage of by a girl who was sober. I was out of town for work when it happened, but I got back to my parents' house yesterday and he waited until my parents were asleep to tell me. He's a really strong kid and even though he's the youngest of me and my siblings, he is still easily the most level-headed. It's almost impossible to drive him to tears, but he kept talking about how embarrassed he was, and that he feels disgusting with himself. Quickly made sure to hug him and let him know that what happened was not his fault at all, and that the girl was completely in the wrong. For context, he was so drunk he didn't remember the hookup besides coming awake for 1 second and then passing out again. He doesn't remember the Uber coming home, and was shocked when he woke up in his bed to the text messages that it had happened. I'm furious with his friends for not realizing something was wrong in the situation, but according to my brother they were also extremely drunk. The girl had tried to pursue him earlier that night when he was sober, but he gently let her know he wasn't interested. I am understandably beyond outraged that this happened. When he started the conversation he started to cry and said, "I know I'm a guy so I shouldn't feel feel this way, but I feel dirty. As I said before, I made sure he realized what happened to him was beyond not okay regardless of gender, and it was clear from the end of the conversation that he realizes that now. I made sure to use an analogy of, if it was one of your girlfriends, would you find this okay? He quickly said it was wrong, and I told him that it's the same for him, and that being a guy didn't matter when it comes to assault. It's so hard to see my brother feel as though he can't talk or report his sexual assaults because of his gender. Today we're going to his favorite bubble tea place, and tomorrow I'm going to order takeout for us and spend the rest of the weekend together. I'm planning on talking to him about telling our parents what happened, as they are extremely understanding about situations like these, and will most likely want to try to pursue legal action, get him tested for STDs, and of course, the therapy and counseling he needs. This situation has been especially hard on me because my freshman year of college I was raped and had to drop out of school in order to get the help I needed. I can see my brother is starting to exhibit the same signs of PTSD I did, and he is of course my baby brother. I managed to keep it together when he told me, but as soon as the conversation ended I was an absolute mess. I could really use some help on this one. Even though I feel like I know what to do because of my own past experience, I just want to make sure I'm talking about it in the right way to him and not thrusting my own experience onto his situation. Update: as my brother opened up more. According to the 4 people that were there besides my brother and the girl, everyone said that she was sober and hadn't had anything to drink or smoke. She also left 3 days after it happened back to Shanghai, China. She was not someone my brother had known before, so he found out through the girl she had been staying with. My brother decided he just wanted to get help but to keep the police out of it, as he didn't think they'd believe him, and contacted a few male support groups and told my parents what happened. We're figuring everything out together as a family, and he has an appointment to get tested for STDs this week. There's also been tons of text and video proof given to my brother of him that showed he was absolutely intoxicated, as well as that she was sober. The girl this person was staying with even got in contact with my brother to personally apologize and say that she would support him if the girl tried to defame him. Thank you to everyone that wrote helpful comments and for all the advice. Lots of love, go you all. To everyone else that tried to act like this was somehow an okay situation, you can politely go fuck yourselves. It sounds like you are doing a great job. You've done a lot of things right, like reassuring him it wasn't his fault, listening and being supportive. It might help for you to call a sexual assault crisis hotline because they can support you. It's really hard hearing this happen to a loved one, and it's totally okay for you to need counseling or support as well. He also might benefit from calling since they can give him information and options as well. Due to his age, mandated reporting might be a thing that needs to happen, but that doesn't mean anything will definitely happen. It will just be another way for him to get resources and options. Reporting would probably be to a child service agency. I think empowering someone in this situation is important. If he wants to take legal action, get counseling, or anything, that should be his choice. You can absolutely talk about it and let him know the pros and cons, though I'm not sure if you would, but you might want to consider being careful around sharing your own experience. If you want to share something that worked for you, that is fine, but sometimes it makes people feel worse to also be sad something happened to someone else. Just a consideration. I think listening, being there, believing him and letting him know it's not his fault and you're glad he shared this with you are also valuable.